I had my first big win at the Desert Inn in Las Vegas. God came down and said, Michael, the answer to all of your financial problems are the slots. And as I'm sitting there, all of a sudden, bells start going up. I had hit the jackpot. I won $100,000. And that feeling was just one of complete bliss. People would come by and touch me. From that day on, I was known as Mr. Lucky.
They call it the big win, the potent rush of money won versus money earned. And gamblers have been chasing it for generations. Even Hollywood has played into this fantasy.
Raise it 2,000.
Kind of high stakes for you, no?
America's legal gambling industry rakes in over $200 billion a year. But for some bookies and bettors, it's not enough.
I'm competitive and I like to win. And gambling is really clear whether you're a winner or you're a loser.
Black market games and casinos are popping up all over the country.
A lot of celebrities, a lot of politicians, and they all want a private place where they can just act however they want to act.
Where fortunes are being lost and won. Off the books and in the shadows.
You can live in the most quiet neighborhood. It's happening. It's happening everywhere and anywhere.
This is an addiction. Just like people like to do drugs. People like to gamble.
I've seen people cry. I've seen guns get drawn. But everybody want money. It's the American way.
I'm gonna tell you something, the Sinaloa cartel, they have people everywhere. This is a very strong organization. Not only drugs, but you know, a lot of other things, illegal things. And they know people, they know the right people. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that we have to call you all the way from Mexico.
Mexican journalist Miguel Angel Vega is an old friend and colleague who's helped me gain access to many criminal operators throughout my career. Tonight, 300 miles from Los Angeles, we're due to meet a cartel associate who's rumored to host an illegal poker game.
What's his connection to the cartel?
He provides guns. He manufactures like ghost guns, and he sells guns to not just one cartel, in this case the Sinaloa cartel, but also many other cartels in Mexico.
The only reason you guys are here now is I have a point of contact who is somebody that I trust for over a decade. Other than that, none of this will be happening.
Oh, thank you.
He tells me to call him Tony. Originally from Los Angeles, he now lives here in an undisclosed part of Northern California.
The leading gambling business. All this ties it together. All my clients, they all gamble, all of them. And we're not talking about just gambling for money. They'll gamble drugs, they'll gamble guns. We have a rule. Anything that happens in this garage stays in this garage.
Before the game begins, all of the players must disarm.
We unload everything, just for safety. We're not animals. Play some games.
Despite Tony's admission that his clients are a mix of ex-cons, cartel associates, and possibly contract killers,
Oh, wow, you guys start strong, huh?
tonight's stakes aren't particularly high. Just a few $1,000s.
What the good?
How much money did you make?
Holy man. Enough to pay the mortgage. también?
So are you seeing more of these underground games happening?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, people out of work, they have to take that chance.
People think it's more common in Nevada because Nevada is legal. Not true. There's as much gambling here as there is there. There's not stopping it or slowing down. No. It's always more and more.
The players tell me there are thousands of unlicensed casinos and underworld card games taking place in every city across the country.
Have you ever been to any of those high-rolling illegal poker nights?
Yeah. Well, have I been to them? Yeah, I've been to a couple of them. Not a big fan.
It's better ways to make money.
Yeah.
Easier way.
Easier way. Cleaner. That's a little too dirty. People think my firearm business is bad. This is nothing compared to when you're talking about high rollers. They'll gamble properties, cars, girls. They'll gamble a girl. I owe you how much? I owe you 500,000. I'll bet you this girl.
Oh my God.
It happens behind closed doors.
For years, I've opened these doors and gained access to all manner of black markets. But these markets typically offer products or services that are outlawed. And that's what makes Tony's story so mysterious. Why is the underground gambling scene booming in the United States when a legal market already exists? I want to find out who's running these black market games and what the attraction is.
It's happening everywhere and anywhere. It's in every neighborhood you can think of.
All right, heavy set guys coming back out to the street. Check their counter surveillance.
Copy that.
West Covina is a nice area. These are regular working folks. That house right there probably is on Zillow for $1 million. And there's an illegal casino operating out of it.
Doors opening, male and a female exiting, walking
yeah. There's more people coming.
One male in black and a female in red, female with a blue jacket.
I'm riding shotgun tonight with Detective Juarez of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. His team is conducting surveillance on a criminal network that operates multiple underworld casinos.
So this is a big player that you guys have been tracking for a while that runs, you think, more than one illegal casino?
He definitely runs more than one.
And what can you tell me about this person?
He's Chinese. The whole crew is Chinese, but they're working with the Mexican mafia. There's a lot of murders that tie back to these illegal casinos. Those links are usually not made until after the story has faded from the news.
How many of these illegal casinos do you think exist in LA County?
Anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000, easily.
Wow.
You're looking at security tape of SWAT officers serving a search warrant on an illegal gambling house inside an Anaheim furniture store.
Dozens of people are busted in an alleged illegal gambling raid.
Unregulated pop-up casinos that have been magnets for criminal activity.
Sheriff's deputies are investigating the shooting death of a man inside an illegal gambling establishment.
A Brooklyn shootout that killed 4 people inside an illegal gambling club.
Tonight's target is a type of illegal casino called a casita, Spanish for little house. Casita profits aren't solely driven by old-fashioned card games, but an upgrade in electronic gaming.
Hey, stand by. The BMW in the driveway is about to go mobile.
The team spots one of the ringleaders, a woman, and decides to pursue her.
Yeah, I'm going to be just ahead of you.
Okay.
We're coming westbound. We're going to be approaching Willow Avenue.
She's gonna hit the freeway.
We've seen this car at multiple locations tied back to the organization.
Detective Juarez hopes this woman is going to lead his team to more casino locations. And if they're lucky, they'll take down the entire operation.
I say we let her get off the freeway.
The LA County Sheriff's Department is in pursuit of a woman suspected of running multiple underworld casinos.
Yeah, she's gonna be going, it looks like she's gonna be going eastbound. Oh, you know what? Getting back on the freeway. Crap.
Oh,
Yeah, she's watching.
She absolutely knows she's being followed.
Yeah. See, she's gonna exit right now. She's.
Oh, wow.
See?
She's not sure what she wants to do.
I'm gonna try to follow, see where she goes.
What do we do?
If she makes a move, I'm not gonna follow.
She's making an exit. She exited 100%.
Detective Juarez lets the suspect get away for now. But nothing I witnessed tonight surprises me. Criminals and casinos have always gone hand in hand, perhaps most famously when a mobster named Bugsy Siegel helped build a city dedicated to gambling, Las Vegas, Nevada.
I'm in love with a girl that I think is so fine. I'm in love.
Nevada was the first U.S. state to legalize gambling.
I'm in love with a girl.
But over time, Las Vegas cleaned up its act. They kicked out the mob, and the corporations took over. Today, some form of gambling is legal in almost every state. And yet, the underworld continues to take a piece of the action. I want to know how it works, from the street-level games to the high-roller events I heard about. But first, I need to find my way inside the scene.
Hello?
Hey, El, how are you doing?
Hey, Mariana, how you doing?
I'm about like 5 minutes from you now. We're close to South LA here. I'm going to meet a person, a contact that has some connections that run some of these operations. I think it might be here.
Come on, man. Stop acting like you don't want to bet, man. Put some of that money. Bet it back.
So how does this game work?
Yeah, it's just the typical rules of craps. You know, 7-Eleven, Snake Eyes. Your money has to be on the floor for the bet to be good, yeah.
Who else betting? Come on, put that little money down. I might side bet depending on what he hit. 20 fish.
Oh! Another one that you passed the dime.
Have you seen like more of these underground gambling facilities pop up?
I would most definitely say that.
Do you think we'd be able to get access to one?
Those things are like more hush-hush. If you want to tap into certain stuff, there's a way to tap in.
I have no doubt he's right, but at the moment, I'm definitely not tapped into the right people. So I reach out to my underworld contacts across the country.
Hello?
Hey, hi.
Man, we here. I'm rolling dice right now.
They're expecting us?
Yeah, I let them know that you sing shit. You know how you, Mariana, is all good. You got the pass. You got the hood pass.
I got the hood pass, okay.
Just pull up to the corner of the block. You will see, like, in the barbershop, and you just come downstairs. But don't make it too hot, though.
It's becoming clear to me that the gambling underworld isn't controlled by a single criminal network.
What's this game called?
456 is the name of the game, CeeLo.
But just like the old casinos, gangsters are often the gatekeepers.
Hustlers, pimps, gangsters, gamblers. This is like a hub where everybody meet.
So are a lot of these places controlled by gangs? Is there a lot of gang affiliation? You're looking at me.
I wouldn't say no.
Intimidating guy.
I didn't know you could see my eyes.
Oh, I can see your eyes.
The owner of this establishment tells me to call him Ray Ray and says he's a college graduate with a business degree. But he manages several dice games because, quite simply, they make a ton of money.
Do people have to pay to come in here and play?
$50 to play on a regular day. On the weekends, hot days, $100 to play.
So if there are so many legal options of places to go gamble, why do you think people prefer to come here?
Because it's cash. You can see it in your face. When you're dealing with apps and you're dealing with the casinos, it's different. You feel like you cheated. And you can deal with the money right here in your face. The probability is just feel greater.
So is it dangerous? Is it a dangerous business?
Very dangerous. I've seen guns get drawn. People come through and stick up the whole spot. I have a bullet hole in my car right now.
Ray tells me this is the reason why casino security is so tight.
In LA, a lot of gambling facilities have to pay the Mexican mafia to be able to operate there. Yeah. So is there something similar here? Do you have to pay anyone?
Everybody works together. Just like the IRS and what their taxes, you gotta pay it. It's no different.
Got it.
That's how you keep everybody happy. Good vibes, no drama.
He refuses to tell me much more about his operation. But another one of my trusted Los Angeles sources comes through.
We're meeting a contact of mine that I've had here for many years now. He's an ex-convict. He's sort of linked to the Mexican mafia gang member.
This contact claims he can get me inside one of the underworld casinos, the casitas, that I've been hearing so much about.
And it's kind of amazing just how hard it's been for us to get access to these casitas. But finally, tonight, it looks like something is going to happen.
He's here.
For weeks, I've been crisscrossing the country, searching for someone who can get me inside an invite-only illegal casino. And tonight, one of my sources, an ex-con with links to the Mexican mafia, finally comes through.
Hey, how are you doing?
Everything's kind of hard right now. It would be good if you guys go on that side of the truck. Welcome to Vegas.
Do you say welcome to Vegas to everybody that walks in, or just me?
No, everybody that walks in, we say welcome to Vegas. It's a little smaller than Vegas, but that's what we call it.
The owner of this underground casino tells me to call him B. He says he owns 3 locations like this one, open 24 hours a day to keep up with demand.
So this place, if we weren't here,
It'd be packed.
This machine is called a fish game, and it's the main attraction at many of these casitas. Casinos like this are also called slap houses, for obvious reasons.
I can't go as fast as you can. That's insane. God, my hands are hurting already.
These fish games are simple to play and are programmed to deliver a jackpot when enough money has been paid into the machine.
You gotta watch the table. If they're winning, once everybody clears the table, you turn it off. And you have them move to the next table, you know?
really?
Let it cool down, and then it just resets.
And cheating a little bit, no?
People don't open up casinos to lose money.
When you didn't have these businesses, what were you doing?
Selling that,
How much money you're making here compared, how do you compare it to now?
there's no comparison.
You're making much more money now. Like, what, double?
Triple.
B claims he's making about $240,000 a month from his 3 casitas.
So this is way more profitable. Why is that?
This is an addiction. Gambling's an addiction. Just like people like to do drugs. Just people like to gamble. That's their addiction.
I was gambling every day. Morning, noon, and night. Before work, after work, even at work. The casino noise, it drowns out your life. The bang, zoom, the lights, it drowns out everything that you need to hear. And I couldn't stop. I could not stop.
Scientists now know that gambling affects the brain, much like drugs. When we gamble, our brains release dopamine, the feel-good chemical, and we experience a jolt of pleasure. But gambling is different than a drug-induced high, because dopamine is released regardless of whether we win or lose. It's the thrill of taking risks that triggers the pleasure. Today, an estimated 3 million Americans cannot stop gambling.
Technically, I am an addict, you know, probably by the book. I'm probably an addict. It's literally like a drug. Once it grips you, and it's hard to let it go. I think social media is the biggest factor in all of this.
4-3, yep. 4-4.
Those guys are the face of gambling, and everybody's following their plays, everybody's following their advice.
Social media is littered with people who claim to be astonishingly successful gamblers. Like this guy.
It's like 408.
$408,000.
We're gonna try to make this $1 million.
Tonight?
His social media handle is Dirty Goth Boy, but he goes by Mickey Mace.
How much did I win?
3.1 million, give or take.
Thank you, buddy.
And he's rumored to be one of Las Vegas' biggest winners of all time.
I'm not gonna allow you to play here.
Why?
Because you're playing too good for us.
He racked it up with 373,000
Profit, 200,000.
He took $5,000 and flipped it to 200 before I knew what the happened.
Mickey claims to come from a long line of degenerate gamblers. He also says he was a heroin addict, spent time in juvenile prison, and worked on Wall Street.
So my #1 game is Baccarat, but it used to be Blackjack.
He allegedly wins a lot of money at a game that no one in the history of casino gambling has beaten.
In the long term, you're always going to lose.
If that was true, then why am I banned from the city of Las Vegas?
There's an old saying about gamblers. Always assume everyone's bluffing at all times. But Mickey promises to show me a side of the underworld gambling scene I can't even imagine. I've been searching for a gambler who can get me inside the big money, high roller card games. And Mickey Mace is exactly this kind of player.
Getting close.
He's someone who's fled the legal, sanitized Sin City casinos. In fact, Mickey calls himself a Vegas exile.
So you cannot go to any of the casinos in Vegas?
I'm allowed in 2 casinos.
Why?
Winning too much. They all say something different. Some of them simply say, never come back to our property, and hang up the phone. Some of them say, you've won too much and you're not losing it back and you're bad for business. And some have accused me of cheating, but they can't figure out how.
What's the most amount of money you've ever won?
The most I've ever won in one session?
Yeah.
$11,526,000. Every casino gives like a different bag when you win in cash. They give it to you in $100 bills, and they give it to you like packed in cellophane, and it slides perfectly into this bag.
Vacuum seals!
The only way to acquire one of these is you have to win $500,000 from the Venetian or the Palazzo.
All these bags are $500,000 that you won?
Yeah, I have more. I even cleaned them out 3 times. So we took whatever bags they had on hand, and they still ran out of bags, so we'd have to use like pillowcases.
I contacted several Vegas casinos about Mickey's claims, but they told me they refused to comment on a guest status.
As the last few casinos started banning me, I said, I can't gamble in Vegas anymore. What else can I do? And I have a lot of friends that I know play in these private poker games. And I went and was immediately just enthralled with the environment. something that movies haven't even depicted accurately. Maybe one day a week consistently I play, and I'll throw in like a second or third game sporadically, but I'll also just stop by because I like the free food and the women.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. In the super high stakes games, you'll rarely have like a physical threat. But in the lower level games, people have been shot and stabbed during the game. There's a lot of gangbangers and drug dealers and pimps and those kind of guys, there's really no telling what some of them will do.
Tonight, Mickey has promised to get me inside one of these invite-only events. It's a game that hosts a mix of poker pros and white-collar professionals, but also gang members and cartel associates. The meeting point is inside a high-end apartment building in downtown LA.
It's right there. So if I'm doing a story about illegal gambling, this is definitely the right place to be.
I would say LA is the mecca of illegal gambling.
Hi, how are you? Mariana.
From the moment I enter the penthouse apartment, it's clear that this is not your typical casino. About 20 male players, including Mickey, are seated around 3 poker tables, while 10 scantily clad poker girls, as they're called, service their so-called needs.
And what are the girls doing? What's their job there?
Well, their job title is like server and massage girl. A lot of the women know their tips are better with the less clothes they wear and the more action they take in the back room.
Which means sometimes sex.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we're inside for maybe 5 minutes when I'm told our cameras aren't welcome after all.
Okay, yeah. They've ushered us into the bathroom. I think it's one of the most frustrating moments for us, just to be so close to the action and yet not being able to actually see it.
Luckily, I convinced one of the poker girls to take a break and join me.
When you first entered this world, was it shocking to you to find out?
Yeah, I mean, given I came from like a lower income family, it's so crazy to see people gamble with money that's worth more than my parents' house.
So how much money more or less do you make on a good night?
On a good night, I can make anywhere from like $2,000 to $2,500. The most I've made in a night is $5,000.
That's pretty good money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good is an understatement. She says she pulls in roughly $40,000 a month, all of it made through tips. So it's off the books and presumably tax-free.
I've never done anything extra in these games.
Does that happen?
Girls are full service for sure, 110%. Players know the girls that are, so you kind of get picked less and you kind of get tipped less. I think it's kind of like what you're willing to do, I guess, for some money.
But the poker girls aren't the only ones here trying to earn a living.
And so as a dealer, you make more money in the underground scene than you do in the regular casino?
A lot more.
This is the Queen of Poker, as she likes to be called. She's a former Las Vegas dealer who now pursues more lucrative opportunities, hosting her own illegal poker games.
This is my gaming room here.
Whoa, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I can go play poker with my friends if I want to, and that's not illegal, right? So what part of it is illegal?
The illegal part is taking the rake. As the dealer runs the game, that's where the rake is taken, which is where the money is.
I'm assuming the rake is like a percentage of what is...
Yeah, it's a percentage, like at the casino.
But only legal casinos are permitted to take a rake. Tonight's host will make roughly $80,000.
So they're making a ton of money.
Suddenly, we hear yelling from the other room.
Tell you what we doing. Tell you what we doing. What we gonna do? Understand? Back down. What's up? I promise you, you don't know. You don't know. Understand. What we gonna do? Understand how I get down. What's up? I promise you, my life is worth everything you're talking about.
I've gained access to my first underground poker game.
You don't know. I'm winning all. You don't know. You're right.
He has a gun.
You don't know.
But instead of gambling, one of the players is making threats. Thankfully, the out-of-control gambler is escorted from the penthouse.
So let's talk about the drama. What happened?
No, I don't know anything. I don't know.
But there was a gun and there was a knife.
I
There was
don't
a
know.
lot of...
I don't know. I don't know about a gun and a knife. I don't know anything.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, there's nothing to talk about. I don't know.
I mean, we all saw it.
Well, I don't. Then you can talk about it. I don't know.
Okay, but is that scared people, you think? That's why some people left?
I don't know.
Okay.
It seems there's an unofficial code of silence around these games. But rumor has it that they were fighting over a $27,000 gambling debt.
Is it difficult for you to get people to pay what they owe you?
Yeah, because people are not carrying 10, 20,000 in their pocket, you know? So you have to offer a credit or a marker to keep a game going and make a good amount of money that's worth your time.
How much money are you owed, you think?
$500,000.
You're owed $500,000. Do you think you'll get any of that money?
I'm working on it.
Do you hire a person that can go and tell them?
There's collectors.
You don't know. You don't.
This is what law enforcement is most concerned about. Not just the millions being made off the books, but the criminal activity associated with these games.
Illegal gambling now accounts for half of their murders so far this year.
Have you ever heard of anyone, people that are contracted to be enforcers?
Yeah, of course. Every day.
Oh, that actually happens pretty often.
Every day. Let's say you're at a game that's ran by the Russians, and you rob one of the Russians. They will bring somebody in from Russia to find you, collect the money, and then they return to Russia.
Oh, that actually happens.
Every day.
The following evening, Mickey picks me up in a McLaren GT. A car with a very Mickey backstory.
I had an argument with the vice president of one of the casinos, and so just to show him some attitude, I told him I was gonna win $1 million that weekend and then go buy an exotic car.
And you went back to the hotel and showed him?
I parked it right in front.
We're heading to a so-called billionaires game, an Uber-exclusive poker game that Mickey plays in Beverly Hills.
So this is a totally different ball game from the game we went to the other day, right?
100%. It's like not even comparable. Some people might end up buying in for maybe 2 or 3 million.
Mickey tells me the game regularly hosts Hollywood A-listers, real estate moguls, oil tycoons, and even high-level members of organized crime.
You'll definitely recognize them, and it's not impossible that a lot of them could possibly recognize you.
That's got me a little worried, because to gain access, Mickey's told the game runners that I'm his friend. No one knows that I'm a journalist investigating black markets.
And there'll be a line of questions. What's her skill level? How long have you known her? To get a gauge if you're an appropriate character to be in our secret environment. This is our secret world we have. And so to let an outsider in is a pretty big deal.
Unfortunately, the cameras will not be able to follow us inside. Despite all his legal winnings, I have yet to understand why Mickey prefers to play in private, off-the-books games.
Which is my biggest question about this whole thing, is why are there illegal gambling dens if gambling in general is more and more legal in America, everywhere?
There's a lot of reasons why. So if we're the ones controlling the game and we are essentially the casino, we can not only dictate the rules of the game itself, but we also get the environment. You know, a lot of people want to party. We set up for certain women to be around. Politicians and movie producers and actors and hip-hop artists and athletes, they all want a private place where they can just act however they want to act.
The US is home to roughly 700 billionaires. And tonight, according to Mickey, I'm looking at a few of them. I see 10 players seated around a large table. I can't name names, but there are some recognizable big shots present. Mickey says that there's at least $2 million at play. There's a chef serving whatever the player wants. There's champagne and single malts, cigars, and though I don't see it, I'm told cocaine is also on the menu. Behind the players, about 20 seductively dressed women hover. And Mickey tells me that every once in a while, the player will leave the table and head to a private room with one of these girls. And because of the money in play, tonight's hosts could be making hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not just the rake that brings in money, it's the tips. Players tip the bartenders, the bookkeeper. Each one of the girls can earn tens of thousands of dollars. And the house takes 50% of all of it. As I try to process this, one of the poker girls approaches me and says, "Your face is so familiar. Do I know you?"
Well, that was insane. Yeah, I mean, it was, I don't even know where to start. Like Mickey said, the guy that actually runs this game went up to him and said, "So she's with you, right?" And Mickey said, "Yeah, she's with me. She looks like a cop. Is she a cop?" And then that was the moment that I thought it was a good idea to probably leave. And to think that these places exist and are all around town, particularly here in Beverly Hills, surrounded by these mansions, it's a side of the city that I've never seen and I didn't think existed.
We're ready to roll.
This morning, close to 100 Sheriff's Department officers prepare to take down 7 different targets. They're all linked to the same gambling operation Detective Juarez's team was surveilling. And I'm in the thick of it.
So it's 6 a.m. We're a block away from the target in a armored vehicle, part of a convoy of about 8 vehicles, a couple of bulletproof vehicles like this one.
The LA County Sheriff's Department is rolling deep today because of the violent history of the casino security, the Mexican Mafia.
You see them? They're going over the fence here. So they just broke through the window and are going through. Oh, look. They just got somebody out of the house.
The detainees are a mix of Asians and Hispanics, but it's unclear to me which ones are the players versus the casino operators.
They're arresting, I think, the 9th person right now. So 10 people believed to be in the house. 2 of them apparently fled. 1 of them was caught, and the other one is still on the list.
While it's never been easier to legally gamble in America, the 10 people here are so desperate to scratch that itch that they're playing at an illegal casino at 6 a.m. on a weekday morning. It's a frightening reminder that compulsive gambling is called the hidden addiction, because unlike drugs and alcohol, there are no physical signs.
The last year I gambled, I went through over $1 million of clients' money. And when I did that, I swore to God that I was going to pay that money back.
Perhaps because of the secrecy and shame, compulsive gambling has the highest suicide rate of all addictions.
I remember the night that I went down to the office. I had a client's gun, and I took that gun out of the cupboard, and I was going to end my life.
Oh, I remember calling the suicide hotline, and I wanted to kill myself. I really did. The phone rang, and it rang, and it rang. And I said, God, if you help me, I will do what's right.
These two recovering addicts never gambled at an illegal casino. They didn't have to. It turns out America's most destructive gambling market may not be the one I've been following, the one that's happening in the shadows. It's the one that announces itself with bold, flashing lights.
Predatory gambling is America's most neglected major problem. Right now, you have advertising and marketing encouraging citizens to do this, just to participate in a business that ultimately is going to get them fleeced.
Les Bernal is the director of Stop Predatory Gambling, a national advocacy network committed to exposing the truth about America's state-sanctioned gambling.
This is a public policy that's based on cheating and exploiting citizens. This financial exchange is a lure that you might win money, all right? But it's mathematically stacked against you, so the longer you participate in it, the more money you spend in it. In the long term, it's not a question of if you're gonna end up losing all your money. It's an absolute certainty you're gonna lose all your money.
And while I've been trying to understand why the black market even exists, Les claims the answer is quite simple.
You wouldn't have the massive amount of illegal gambling happening today if it wasn't for state-sanctioned gambling. It's normalized gambling. If you ask anybody in the illegal gambling business, hey, is it a good thing that states are promoting gambling? To a person, every single one of them would say, absolutely, it's great for business.
According to Les, the biggest difference between these markets is that one of them receives the blessing of state officials.
We sell $100 scratch tickets to people making $7.25 an hour. That's a government program. You're encouraging people to play a product that is identified as addictive. It's opioids and cocaine. The business model is based on turning citizens into addicts.
But while the US government spends more than $1 billion each year on treatments for drug and alcohol abuse, there's not a single cent of federal funding spent on America's growing gambling addiction.
I had my first big win at the Desert Inn in Las Vegas. And it's absolutely the worst thing that can happen to you.